We go to New York, Columbia University.
It's a no for me, dog.
Where they created an anti-Semitism task force.
It's true.
To combat the pro-Hamas loving students.
Bullshit?
Well, if they didn't let the pro-Hamas students run amok,
Kill them on staff!
There wouldn't be an anti-Semitism task force. Now, would there?
It's true.
I'm Jasper Gonzo, and this is what's next. A happy Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. Jasper Gonzo, what's next? Your daily dose, common sense, facts, and salt. Well, since the attacks by Hamas against Israel a little over 3 weeks ago, we have seen not just an uptick in anti-Semitism across the country, we have seen it go up several notches. You got colleges, students, pro-Hamas students, in different colleges in different cities across the country. Now, of course, you running around in your pro-Hamas shirt, in your quote-unquote Palestinian flag, waving it proud, anti-Semitism is going to go up on the campus. You've got Israeli students in campuses across the country who have come out and said, guess what? I'm being attacked. Verbally, physically, I'm being attacked. You got American Jewish students who are saying the same thing. But yet, you got universities, and Harvard is the perfect example because they pretty much came out and said nothing as their pro-Hamas loving students ran around campus and did whatever the fuck they wanted to do. And then, of course, you've had backlash since then about students. Yeah, you know what, when it comes to job recommendations, yeah, not so much. But that's a different story for another day. We go to Columbia, New York, where an anti-Semitism task force has been created to protect Jewish students. But this is in reaction to a task force given by the same university to pro-Hamas students, to protect their rights, that they can run around and say, women and children are allowed to be killed. Wow. And here we go. This comes out of New York Post. Columbia University launches anti-Semitism task force doxing resource group as hate crimes swell on campus. Yeah, because no one saw this happening. Columbia University has launched an anti-Semitism task force to address the terrible resilient hatred that has swept across its campus in the weeks since Hamas launched its surprise attack against Israel, the school said on Wednesday. Well, not really surprised. They were planning this for about 2 years. The Ivy League University announced the formation of task force the same day it activated a doxing resource group to protect pro-Palestinian students. The school said it was a pushback to establish the task force after a notable increase in the amount of reported anti-Semitism attacks, both physically and ideological, on its Manhattan campus in the last 3 weeks. Quote, one would hope that by the 21st century, anti-Semitism would have been relegated to the dustbin of history, but has been risen here in New York City, across the country, and across the world in recent years, Columbia University President Minouche Shafik wrote in a message to the school community. The 5-person panel, headed by campus professors, will be tasked with recommending changes that foster the inclusive environment at Columbia, as well as affiliated schools, Barnard and Teachers College. The recommendations could also come in the form of academic changes as well as inclusionary training offered to its students, faculty, and staff. The task force will enhance our ability to address the ancient but terrible, resilient form of hatred, Columbia said in an announcement. Quote, we want to reiterate that we will not tolerate such actions and are moving forcefully against anti-Semitism threats, images, and other violations that they are reported, and we will continue to provide additional resources to protect our campuses. That's a good thing. The reported incidents range from physical assaults, including the attack of an Israeli student outside the library of Morningside campus, to ideological rumblings that Jewish students slammed the university for leaving them to feel unsafe. Of course, these are pro-Israeli demonstrators. And of course, the lovely Hamas lovers. Earlier this week, more than 100 professors penned a letter defending students who supported Hamas. 100 professors penned support. No surprise, colleges are meant for indoctrination, not for education. Military action in Israel as a breaking point following decades-long oppression. The faculty called on administration to protect those students from disturbing reverberations on campus, namely doxing trucks that appeared outside campus and plastered images of pro-quote-unquote Palestinian students under the banner leading anti-Semites. You had those who had trucks rolling up. It's not the students' fault. Somebody decided to pay these trucks to dox pro-Hamas students. That could be a problem. In response, Columbia launched a doxing resource group to provide exposed students with the avenues to report harassment and access to digital threat investigation and privacy scrubbing experts. Quote, deliberate harassment and targeting of members of our community by doxing, a dangerous form of intimidation, is unacceptable, Shafiq wrote in his second announcement released on Tuesday. Yeah, wasn't there some sort of journalist who worked for the Washington Post who was doxing Lib's a TikTok creator? Yeah, whatever happened to that? Of course, you can see there the students, and there are the pro-Hamas student lovers. This includes a disturbing incidents in which trucks have circled the Columbia campus, displaying and publicizing. Let me read that over. Quote, this includes disturbing incidents in which trucks have circled the Columbia campus, displaying and publicizing the names of photos of Arab, Muslim, and Palestinian students. Palestinian students are the same as Arab. Just saying. While the Anti-Semitism Task Force is anticipated to be a permanent fixture at the Columbia campus, the Doxing Resource Group is slated to operate only through November unless the need proves too great. My thoughts. This is totally 1,000% reactionary. The fact of the matter is that what we saw in Harvard, where you had students, pro-Hamas students, run amok on that campus. And what did Harvard do? What did their administration do? Absolutely nothing. They did nothing. And so, of course, Jewish students were going to feel that they're not being protected, that they are going to be in fear, verbally and physically, against them. We see the same thing happen here in Columbia, where you have pro-Hamas students. There's not a problem with being quote-unquote pro-Palestinian, which actually means being pro-Arab. No one has a problem with that. You can run the campus all day long saying, you know what? I love Palestine. You can run that, free Palestine. You can do that all day long. But the second you aligned yourself with a terroristic group, Hamas, who attacked innocent Israelis, men, women, and children, burning them, beheading them, that is where the line had to be drawn. That is the line you should have not stepped over. So now we're not just seeing this in Columbia. We're seeing this in other universities around the country, mainly in democratic cities, just saying. But we're seeing not just an uptick, not just a notch or two. This thing is being dialed up. And that's a problem. But for Columbia, to think that they're all, we're doing the right thing, to be all high and mighty with their noses up in the air, going, you know what? We're going to create this anti-Semitism task force to protect the Jewish students because, it's the right thing to do. No. Again, like I said, it's total reactionary. Had you made it very clear to the students on your campus that if you run around saying pro-Hamas, 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 we love it, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be a problem with you being on this campus. That's how you do it. That's how I do it. You pull them to the side, say, here, you do A, B's going to happen. But by them allowing this, now the Jewish students on that campus, Israeli students and American-born Jewish students, are now in fear of their physical lives. I'm not putting quotes here. Physical lives. They're worried about their physical lives. But you got to protect them. You got to protect them. It's one thing, because no problem with you being pro-Palestinian and saying, and saying these things, and, it's protected rights and what have you. But the lines are crossed, So when someone outside of the campus decides to roll up in trucks and says, hey, here are pro-Palestinian students who basically love Hamas. Here's their addresses or phone numbers. Here's where they hang out. That's doxing. That's a problem. But you don't pin it on the students, the Jewish students of that campus, and say, well, it's your fault, the reason why this happened. No, it's the pro-Hamas students who allow this to happen. A, allowed B, B turned into C. See where I'm going? But that's just me. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Borganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, subscribe to it, hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. And we'll see you next time. Peace.